Hi everyone, this is Frances. In this video we'll cover two free and easy to use Chrome extensions that will read text on websites and PDFs that are open in the Chrome browser. The first one we'll look at is called Use Immersive Reader for Websites. So go to your Chrome Web Store, type in Use Immersive Reader. There it is, right here. So something to note about this extension is it is Microsoft's Immersive Reader, but it is not published by Microsoft and it is not endorsed by Microsoft, but it does let you use Immersive Reader on websites that you open in Chrome. So to install it, click on the extension, click Add to Chrome. It's going to make sure that you really want to add the extension. And so now you can see it's right up here in the bar. It has the little book icon. Once you've installed this extension, you can select the text on a website, right-click on the text, and select Help Me Read This. So I have a Wikipedia article open here. If you know my background, I have taught science for a very long time, so I typically search things that are science-related. So I'm going to highlight the text. I'm going to right-click and go to Help Me Read This. I select that. It opens this new page. So you can see that the font is now bigger. It's less distracting with everything else on the page because it's only focused on the font. So you can see we have some menus here. If you hover over them, it will tell you what they are. So there's our play button, there's our voice settings, text preferences, grammar options, and reading preferences. So if we start with the play button, you notice it read the text to me while it was highlighting the words. This is one of my favorite extensions for this purpose because it does follow the text so well as it's speaking, and it has so many options to customize your experience while you're in Immersive Reader. So let's start with the voice settings. Right now it's set to female. I could change it to male.
1 in 100 micrometers.
And you can speed it up. It will go very, very quickly if you want.
Electron microscopy gives a much higher resolution.
I don't recommend setting it that fast, but you can play around with it until you find what you feel sounds most normal to you.
Detailed cell structure.
And then you can also play with the font, the size. You can increase the spacing or decrease the spacing. You can change the font to one of 3. And then you can change the background. They call it theme. So you can have white text on black. You can change the color, etc. Grammar options is a great student learning option because it can show the words broken up into syllables, so that they can better learn to pronounce the words. You can ask it to highlight nouns if you're studying nouns, or verbs, or adjectives, or adverbs. And you can, if you have them all, they'll all be a different color, and then you can even show the labels of the parts of speech. Now this, having all of that at once, does get a little distracting. So I don't recommend turning it all on at once, but it is helpful if you're trying to learn parts of speech that you can label these things as you go. Finally, reading preferences. The line focus eliminates distraction even more. So you can turn on line focus and have it only show the line it's reading, or show 3 lines or more lines. So it narrows down what you're seeing on the screen. Picture dictionary is kind of neat. I will tell you that not every word is in the picture dictionary, but if you have it turned on and you click on the word, it brings up a picture if it's in the picture dictionary. Then finally, notice I have it set to translate. So you can click on a word, since I have it clicked for word translation. I can see now what that word is in Spanish. And if I want to hear the word in Spanish, I can click right here and hear it pronounced in Spanish. So this is great for English language learners or students who are trying to learn another language, that you can actually translate all of it. I'm going to turn the line focus off so you can see the whole page. It translated everything. And now, if I click play,
La mayoría de las células vegetales y animales.
It's reading it in that language. So this has so many options, and it's so flexible in the uses for students and teachers that I really, really love this extension. It will work for a lot of things. Okay, I just showed you a website. If students use Google Classroom, this is a website. I'm going to highlight text. I'm going to right click and I'm going to click Help Me Read This, and it works.
Hi everyone.
If you use Schoology, it will work for Schoology as well. So I'm going to highlight and right click Help Me Read This. This is one of the announcements.
That helps prepare educators for the Level 1 certification exam.
And what I get a lot of questions about from teachers is I have students who have an oral accommodation for tests. We use Schoology, we use Classroom. So here's an assessment in Schoology, this test student account right here. Highlight the question, right click, Help Me Read This.
You're looking for videos to use in your class to...
The teacher doesn't have to read it to the student anymore. If it's in these learning management systems, Immersive Reader will often read it for the student on demand, which is usually the accommodation that's in the IEP. So this Immersive Reader extension is a great option for those types of uses. Now, there are some things that the Use Immersive Reader extension will not work with, and so I have an example of that here. It's a PDF. It's open in Chrome, and I can highlight text and I can right click, but even though I can select the Help Me Read This, since it's not a web page, it's not reading it. So in those cases, we need another extension. The other extension that I'll talk about is the Read Aloud extension. So I'm in the Chrome Web Store, I searched Read Aloud, and I'm going to add it to Chrome. So now my extension has been added. It will work on websites similarly to how we used Immersive Reader. When I right click, after I highlighted text, I can select Read Aloud selected text.
Most plant and animal cells are only visible under a light microscope with dimensions between 1 and 100 micrometers. 3-electron microscopy gives a much higher resolution, showing greatly detailed cell structure. Organisms can be classified as unicellular, consisting of a single cell set.
So I think you see the issue that we have when we right click and select the Read Aloud selected text. It just starts reading it, and it's going to read it until it's done with the highlighted text, unless you specifically go to the extension like I did and click on it to open the window. So a better way to use this is not by right clicking on the highlighted text, but instead highlight the text and go to your extensions and click on the extension.
Organisms can be classified.
That opens the window where you can interact with the extension. So you notice I could pause it then. You can make the text smaller or larger, and you can make the windows larger or smaller as well. So there's not as many bells and whistles on this extension like there was on the Immersive Reader extension, but it serves its purpose. It works in websites, and it also works in Google Docs, but the process is a little bit more complex. So I'm going to highlight the text, and I'm going to go up here to my extension, and I'm going to
Organisms can be classified as
select
unicellular, consisting of a
Read Aloud. So what you may notice is it didn't read what I had highlighted here. It read what I had highlighted earlier. So sometimes it does kind of revert to the website you were on. So most of the time when that happens, you can click the extension to close it again, and then go back and open it again.
Google Workspace add-on to read aloud this document.
So notice now it is picking up this Google Doc. but there's a problem. This is a Google Doc that was shared with me. I don't have edit access to it, so it tells me that there's a little more work I have to do before I can get this read to me using Read Aloud. The right click just won't work at all because it brings up the Google Docs right click menu instead of any extension menu. So let's follow the instructions. File, make a copy. It automatically opens the copy. I'm going to let it finish loading, and I'm going to try again. I'm highlighting the text, going to my extensions.
Why, working in the science lab can be a lot of fun.
So if you don't have edit access, it's going to tell you to go ahead and make a copy. But once you've made the copy, you can have the Read Aloud extension read the text to you. So Immersive Reader extension will not work with Google Docs, but you can get the Read Aloud extension to work. Another thing that the Immersive Reader extension will not work with is PDFs. All right, I showed you this earlier. I can right click and select, help me read this, but it doesn't work. I can right click and select Read Aloud selected text.
This worksheet was developed to support use of the virtual Stickleback Evolution Lab in the classroom. The lab emphasizes quantitative measurement of phenotypic diversity in related stickleback populations.
So again, I right-clicked, select Read Aloud, and it just started reading it. If I want to interact with the menu, I had to select the Read Aloud extension. Now, sometimes when you have a PDF, it will ask you to open it in a very specific way, and it will tell you actually upload it. And you're only uploading it to the browser so that it can open in a way that Read Aloud can use it. So if that's the case, then you would upload the document to open in the browser in a way that's compatible with Read Aloud, and then it would be able to read that PDF.